It's 6 p.m. and this is our third board meeting since the newly elected board sat in April. It's July the 2nd, 2019, board meeting. I'll read the agenda points. There's 7. 1 is call to order. 2, follow up to board transition, unfinished business. The president has not received transitional information, i.e. has not received the email password from Michelle Sykes, former web mistress for the Windsor Village Civic Club. That's WVCCI64@gmail.com. Board action required. 3, a formal objection by the president to Michelle Sykes violating Articles 5 and 9 of the 1981 bylaws in her unauthorized supplement distribution of the Village Voice. 4, reimbursement to Samuel Kateka on 2 outstanding invoices plus a to-be paid invoice in the amount of $200. 3 total invoices. See attached. The 3 invoices were emailed to Treasurer Richard Cruz on June 16th for payment. 5, treasurer report. Total number of paid membership and current bank balance. 6, open discussion, bylaw subordination and clarification. The president is the editor of the Village Voice. 7, adjourn meeting. I'd like to take 3 minutes because we have several board members that are not present. So I'm just going to put a timer, and unless there's any objections to waiting 3 minutes. Okay.
How's everybody?
Good. How about yourself?
All right. Oh, I can sit in the spectators row.
You still wrong?
But I always write with the right hand.
That's a beautiful fellow. Yeah, that's pretty very nice.
I know, sir.
Just get home from hospital. Well, he just got home just. Oh, wow. What's he doing today? Miss, you looking for a seat? Get from Acklenburg.
I'm good right here, Mr. I'm good right here.
Yeah. I don't know. She told me she was coming.
All right, we're at the 3-minute mark. So, meeting is called to order. And we'll start with bullet point number 2, follow-up to board transition, unfinished business. So are there any board members who have received the password from Michelle Sykes regarding the WVCCI64@gmail.com email address?
Never mind.
Well, good evening.
Okay, so we'll open, there's really not a discussion, it's just a follow-up to unfinished business. If there's anybody we're on number 2, follow-up to the board transition, unfinished business regarding the president not receiving the email password. And the question before you walked in, Carol, was did any board members receive that password? And no one said yes, so I'm assuming no one received it.
So I do have a question. Have any board members requested the password? Why, no, they haven't.
Okay, so what is the password then, since we're on the topic?
Some conglomeration of numbers that I do not remember and I do not have with me, as I was not informed I needed to bring it with me.
Okay, so this is part of the transition. You know, on January the 27th, you received an email from me regarding transitions, and it was my hope that you would make this a smooth, and former board members would make a smooth transition for the new board. And so that just comes with that transition. So if you could email me that would be great. And when can you get to that, Michelle?
Next month.
I have a motion that the Board of Directors suspend all the President's duties and responsibilities as of today. And before we continue this board meeting, we will give you an opportunity to resign before the board and continue the proper procedure.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
Motion to continue this meeting outside if he doesn't leave.
You're totally
No,
out
I'm
of
not
order.
out of order.
You don't have the authority to do that. So the president objects to that motion.
Second.
It's
He's
not.
seconding my motion, not yours.
I'm objecting to the motion, so it doesn't matter whether it's seconded or not. It's inappropriate.
No, it's not.
It is inappropriate. You do not have the
Okay.
authority. This board does not have the
Yes, the
authority.
board does have
Yes,
the
the board
authority.
The board does not have the
The board
authority to
has
do
the
so.
authority.
And
Disciplinary procedures.
you're out of order. You're out of
I
order.
am not out of order.
Okay,
You are.
Okay.
so we have a motion. Let's have a discussion.
The president objected to that motion. It is not. It's not appropriate.
We have discussion.
It's not appropriate.
Okay.
It's not in the governing document.
We have a discussion.
I'd like anybody to show me in the governing documents, the 1964 documents, any governing documents, 1981
You want to see
bylaws,
it? I got it right
that
here.
show where a president where you guys can get away with this cohort secret operation.
It's not a secret operation.
It's not. I said the governing documents, Carol.
Right here. All procedures, Robert's Rules of Order, latest revision shall govern all procedural matters not covered in this instrument.
It is not.
Right here.
First of all, you're out of order and you're obnoxious. You don't need to slam anything in front of me. Just calm down.
We got it, we got it.
We got it, Michelle. Okay, any discussion on this?
Yes, I'd like to say this much. Mr. Samuel, will you explain to us, where do you get all the authority in the world, like the president of the White House, that everything has to be on your term? It is in the Constitution and bylaws that we do have the right to dismiss you as a board. It's in the Constitution and bylaws plus.
Show me where it is in the bylaws. Show me in the bylaws.
It's in there. It's in there.
She's talking about it, so I'd like her to point it out.
No,
Where
it's
in the
in there.
bylaws?
It's in
You're
there.
going to bring a motion and not be prepared.
No,
Do your homework.
We don't have to memorize it.
You're in the middle of an interesting, and I objected to, there was a motion to have me removed as president. And the question is, where in the governing documents, the 1964 Articles of Incorporation, where in the 1981 bylaws does it say anything about dismissing a president. There's no language whatsoever.
Yes, it is.
There is no.
Yes, it is. If he doesn't perform his duties and responsibilities.
Where should point out? What,
You've been
what article?
disrespectful to us.
You're talking. You're giving opinions. I want governing documents. Show me where in the governing documents.
It don't
It doesn't
matter.
matter.
It does matter because I'm objecting.
No.
As the president, I can object to motions that are not correct. That's an incorrect objection.
Right now, the motion is to suspend you, okay? The motion is suspended.
And I'm not. And
So-
what I'm saying is that I've objected to the motion. The motion is inappropriate.
It doesn't matter about your objection.
It doesn't matter. We have a second.
You know,
Objection.
I
So-
talked with an attorney that is very familiar with all these issues, and he plainly said to me, the issue that you have is for the board to correct. It's for the board to correct.
And what
if
issue
you don't
is that?
comply with, if you don't comply with what we decide tonight, then we will take you to the right.
What is the issue?
That you resign.
You're not cooperating with us, you disrespect us, you don't respect us as a body of this community. Everything is just like the White House is. It's your law or no law.
No, I use the governing documents as the law. That's what I use, and common sense.
No.
That's what I use. And y'all are scrambling to look for language that's not there.
We have it
So
right
I'm
here.
going to continue on with
Okay,
this.
no,
So
no,
we-
No, you're not.
Continue.
No, you're
Yeah.
not.
Oh, I've already
You're gonna
objected.
continue
I've
by
objected to the
yourself.
motion.
We have a motion.
It does matter.
Okay,
I've objected.
vote on it.
Robert Rules of Order allows the president to object to motions that
All
are
those
inappropriate.
in favor
And I've
of
objected to it.
Samuel Kentucky stepping down, raise your hands.
Keep the hand up, please.
And it needs to note that I have objected to this.
We don't care.
We don't care about you objecting.
This is what a cabal looks like. And what's your hand raised?
I'm in the room.
Yeah, you're in the room, but
And Michelle,
I'm looking right through you.
Michelle, we're still confused, so if you want to vote, we'll figure out your situation.
And Michelle, they're putting her hands up. You guys have it two ways.
Seriously?
You want to have her, you don't
Seriously?
recognize her as the past president, but you're recognizing her on the,
We're-
obnoxious.
We're going to look into this.
We're gonna get
He's
that
writing it down.
Okay, so just to reiterate, Ms. Bell.
I'm so glad this is being recorded.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Joseph, Ms. Benson, Mr. Craney, and Ms. Griffin have all voted for the motion.
Ms.
Griffin is not
Or
here.
against?
Oh, sorry about
That's
that.
Vince.
Sorry about that.
Ms. Benson.
Yeah.
And the president has objected to the motion. It's inappropriate and unfounded.
And
You
the
know, Mr.
motion
Samuel,
is
you say about
denied
the president,
by the
again, on the street, and they're gonna have
parliamentarian.
police from everywhere here.
The parliamentarian
You don't have
has,
a right to the.
go
You
ahead,
can do
parliamentarian, go ahead and speak again so we have it on record.
Deny.
No, you can't deny.
Yes, you can. But the parliamentarian is talking. Go ahead.
The parliamentarian does not know what he's talking
Go
about.
ahead, parliamentarian.
Tell me, Mr. Parliamentarian,
You're out of order.
Do you
You're not
have
even a board member. You're out of
do
order.
you have this book?
Go ahead.
You're not even a board member.
Do you have this
You're
book?
out of order.
So I take it since you won't answer, you don't have
No,
to know.
it's okay.
Let him finish.
Yeah.
Let him finish. They gonna stand where they are, regardless.
Go ahead.
The motion is denied.
Okay, now,
You're talking over the parliamentarian. Can he have a word in?
No.
Go ahead.
Parliamentarian don't run the rules.
You're not even a board member, so please be quiet. You're out of order
See,
and
this is what we're talking
Go
about.
ahead.
You don't
He's
wanna
not a
listen-
board
You don't
member.
wanna listen to
He's
none of the
not
board
a
members.
board
You
member.
gotta say
I'm
everything.
listening to board members. He's not a board member. I denied your motion. Go ahead, parliamentarian.
Just
I ain't
1 minute,
motion
just 1 minute before you, I'd like to make a motion.
No, we got a
I
motion.
would like to make a.
Okay.
Go ahead and speak on this current.
Okay, the
Okay,
motion,
let me
the
say this,
motion
family.
to, let me speak, the motion to remove the president have been denied by the parliamentarian.
You can't.
Not the board.
we already have a second on it, so.
The parliamentarian has no voice over motion.
No.
So he can say that all he wants.
Anthony, you're aware of the rules.
It's worthless.
Yeah, that's not a word of rules. Okay,
And Mr.
now, is there anything else? Because
No,
he's already suspended.
Okay, so now we're going on to the point number. I've already sent the objection.
Okay, now-
So now we're going on to a formal objection by the president to Michelle Sykes violating Articles 5 and 9 of the 1981 bylaws in her unauthorized supplement
Make a motion.
distribution of the Village Voice. So that has now been as a matter of record.
I motion that, the president dismiss himself from this meeting.
Okay, I second that.
It's denied, you don't have
I
the
second that.
authority
Thank
to
you.
do that.
Okay,
You have no authority to do it.
You can't deny that.
She has no authority to do it.
Yes, she does.
Zero.
Yes, she does.
She does have
Okay.
it. You think you do it?
Now, we're going to
Okay.
the issue of reimbursement of 2 outstanding invoices.
You're talking
Board
to
members,
yourself. No one's
board
listening.
members have
You're
received
talking to
2
yourself.
outstanding invoices plus a to be paid invoice in the amount of $200, 3 total invoices. The 3 invoices were emailed to the treasurer, Richard Cruz, on June 16th for payment.
Call the vote.
So each of the board members has the copy of the...
No, each of the board members do not have a copy.
You're not a board member. You're not
Says you,
recognized.
other people say different.
Says Mrs. Lucas. Says, Mrs. Lucas, let's be clear.
So,
This is the question.
let me clarify.
No, you don't need to clarify.
Samuel
Mrs. Lucas,
McCacker,
is
Mrs.
she a
Lucas
board
gets to
member?
decide who are board members?
Is she a board member? That's the question.
We're here to clarify that, but to say what it is fact. Mr. Joseph was
So, is
elected
Mrs.
by
Lucas
the...
and Mr. Kataka...
You're talking over a board member. You're out of order.
Decide
Again,
who are board members?
So we're
You're
trying
out
to
of
get
order.
this
We had a
straightened up,
motion
right?
that's
Trying to get it straight,
Thank you.
Michelle. We maybe have your attention just a minute. We're trying
No.
to explain to you what really
No.
happened. But it's what it
I
is.
disagree with you 100%, and I will not talk with you.
2,000, it can be 2,000%, but that's what it
Okay.
is. You are
Okay.
not a elected board member.
I am.
President.
Let's deal with this first.
Yeah, we have to get rid of the president. Let's do things in order.
Okay.
The motion was that we ought to dismiss him. Let's
Well, he's been
do that.
dismissed.
So
Okay.
We can always lose.
so they're talking over you again. There they go. You're making a point and then they talk over you. That's what they do.
Let's go to another room. But
Thank
let
you.
him stay out here and have his own meeting.
Meeting.
Okay,
With your camera now. Make sure you record everything.
Absolutely.
enjoy yourself.
So,
All these faces, yeah.
My name is Alma Jean Benson, been out here for 48 years. Mr. Samuel is not a memorable person. He only looks out for number 1. He is a real estate agency.
except I couldn't find a license for him, so I'm not sure that he's a real estate agent.
You're not a very good researcher, and that shows.
We need to figure out what to do.
Okay.
Why do you keep targeting me, Sam? What personal reasons do you have against me?
Read the agenda. Everything is in the agenda. Okay, so we're going to just continue with the meeting. We'll continue. The cabal can go and their cohorts can proceed forward, but we will continue an official meeting. They're having an unofficial meeting. This is something that they do often. They have unofficial meetings. So now we're going to continue with our official meeting after I close some doors because I don't want to hear. Unbelievable. Okay. And then there was 2.
Right,
With integrity.
right.
So I'll go through this agenda because it's been echoed before you came, but I want to reiterate what this agenda is. We're here July 2nd, 2019. Call to order, call the meeting to order. A follow-up to board transition, unfinished business. The president has not received transitional information, i.e. has not received the email password from Michelle Sykes, former web mistress for the Windsor Village Civic Club Incorporated. Board action required. A formal objection by the president, point 3, a formal objection by the president to Michelle Sykes violating Articles 5 and 9 of the 1981 bylaws in her unauthorized supplement distribution of the Village Voice. 4, reimbursement on 2 outstanding invoices plus a to-be paid invoice in the amount of $200, 3 total. See attached, the 3 invoices were emailed to Treasurer Richard Cruz on June 16th for payment. He has not responded, nor has he paid that. 5, Treasurer report, a total number of paid membership and current bank balance. That was supposed to be a report by Richard Cruz. And then an open discussion, the bylaws, subordination, and clarification. The president is the editor of the Village Voice. And then adjourn meeting. So this group of individuals that claim to be board members decided to have a motion to remove the president. And the question that was asked before them, at first it was denied because it is an inappropriate motion. They do not have the authority to do that. And then I asked them to show me where in the governing documents, the 1964 Articles of Incorporation, the 1981 bylaws, where's the language that allows them to do that? And not a single board member could identify where in there, where in the governing documents. And they couldn't identify it because it's not there.
Right.
So they, this is a continuation of them having secret meetings amongst themselves that are unofficial. Now, the governing documents are very clear regarding all meetings must be presided by the president.
Right.
And so I've identified that to specifically to Elizabeth Bell in the form of an email that was transmitted to her. In fact, here's a copy. I'd like to go through that email with you. This email, did you get an opportunity to see the email?
Yes.
Okay. Just for a matter of record, because it wasn't discussed, I'd like to just discuss this, and I'm going to go backward here, beginning with my email that was sent to all directors with email addresses. It was transmitted on the 29th of June, and it says, "Directors, this is a reminder. On June 11th, during the general meeting, I announced that 1, I received a draft of the Village Voice on June 7th at 7:58 p.m., and 2, directors interested in submitting information for the Village Voice need to email me in the previous month and not during the month of distribution. If you are interested in submitting information for the July edition, email me ASAP." And then that's when I received a response from Elizabeth CCing the board. "Hi Sam, please include President's Corner, page 1 and 2 in the Village Voice. Thanks, the board." And she's actually speaking on behalf of individuals that make. So one question I have for you, Anthony Caden, did you authorize her to have me include in the President's Corner pages 1 and 2 only, and they would do the Village Voice?
No.
Okay, so she wrote in here the board, and you are a board member, an elected board member. So here she misspeaks in her response on June this. Okay, so next, let's see, and then I responded on June the 29th. That same day, June 29th. "Ms. Bell, for the record, I have taken the lead on publishing the Village Voice since day 1. When the new board was seated, you wrote, 'Please email information for the President's Corner to us, and the July newsletter will be taken care of.' And my response is, I did not approve of this change, nor did I receive notice of a recommended change." And then she wrote, "The July newsletter must be approved by the director." And I respond, "No such rule exists. The governing documents stand. Article 5, Section 2, the president shall be the executive officer of the organization. He shall preside at all meeting of the membership, the board of directors, and the executive committee when in attendance. He shall appoint and instruct all committees with approval of the board, and shall be an ex-officer member thereof." Article 9, Section 1, "There shall be the following standing committees appointed and instructed by the president with the approval of the board. This includes but not limited to Communications Committee." And the word communications is articulated in the governing document. Again, if directors have a submission for the July edition, it needs immediate transmission to Samuel Kateka. Ms. Bell wrote, Samuel, please, and I'm going back on email, I missed this. Samuel, please email information for the President's Corner to us, and the July newsletter will be taken care of. The July newsletter must be approved by the directors. The President should adhere to the directors, not the directors to the President. The directors manage the affairs of the corporation, not the President. All business affairs must be approved by the directors, not President. All business affairs, Village Voice, expenditures, legal matters, monetary matters, etc. Elizabeth. And her understanding is incorrect. And note that she did not cite any language from the governing document. This is just her announcing her opinions.
Well, Ms. Lucas is aware that everything that you said as far as the president resigning, even the president has to approve what the board votes on. Mm-hmm. She has told me that several times. So I'm confused as to why are they behaving like they're behaving now, twisting everything,
manipulating
into things that don't exist.
Exactly, right. To achieve their agenda. Right. So if a person, the objective, what appeared to be the objective of the board members who left this meeting, which I have not adjourned, when they were running for the election, was to have transparency and to use the governing documents as their guiding light. Mm-hmm. And the reverse is true. They are behaving worse than the former board, because the former board did not do what I'm observing today. At least I'm unaware of them doing that. I have never seen behavior so uncouth as I'm seeing today regarding official business, right, where we are representing the best interests of homeowners. This is not a personality issue. No. This is a business. Right. And there's a correct way to handle business, and that behavior is totally unjustifiable, indefensible.
I agree.
So my last response to this question, and the subject is Village Voice, and it's all connected in terms of president authority and also the bylaws, governing documents. Ms. Bell, the definition of cabal as defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the controverted schemes of a group of persons secretly united in a plot as to overturn a government, also a group engaged in such schemes. You wrote, and that's Ms. Bell wrote, we decided this as a board concerning the May and June editions filled with propaganda. And my response to her was, you are replicating the same accusations of the former board, i.e. they would meet secretly and conduct unofficial board meetings with Carolyn Hughes. All actions taken by you and your cohort are in contradiction to the governing bylaws and are unsustainable. Again, he, the president, shall preside at all meetings of the membership, the board of directors, and the executive committee when in attendance. Mr. Kateka. Okay, so that's where we are, and then so that's where we are with the Village Voice. So what the board is attempting to do is usurp the or subordinate the governing documents to fit their agenda, right, and so the governing documents support this reality, and that is the president is the editor of the Village Voice.
Get the last word on everything that they vote on, from what I understand.
Yes, so it's incredible that this is what a discussion, we were having a discussion, right, okay? So there was not, we should do this, we should do that. It was, let's talk about, right, some of these rituals, such as the Pledge of Allegiance, prayer, I'm not in objection to the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm not objecting to prayer, I'm objecting to doing those activities during an official board meeting. Now, if people want to participate in their own personal ways outside of conducting business, that's on them. But I have an obligation to be in integrity with myself and to speak on observations that are not correct.
Right.
That I observed that appear to be incorrect. But I wanted to have and having a discussion caused people to freak out.
Right.
And
So they didn't want to even
Anarchy.
have a simple discussion.
they didn't want to have a discussion at all. They just want
Wow.
it's my way, this is or the highway. That's their attitude. So the very things that they're objecting to, they're actually reflecting.
Right.
It's sad that this is the so-called leadership of the board.
Damn.
We're pausing this meeting to hear some yelling going on by Michelle Sykes and other members in their secret meeting, unofficial meeting. You see how they're cannibalizing on themselves.
Yes,
So
they are.
We're
Yeah.
here having an official meeting, and they can't even secretly meet
Right.
without attacking and cannibalizing on each other.
Yes, they are. It's unbelievable. I've never seen such a thing.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, don't be surprised, audience, if you see law enforcement coming to address
Right.
the unofficial meeting. Okay, so next is, let's see, objection. So a formal objection by the president to Michelle Sykes violating Articles 5 and 9 of the 1981 bylaws in her unauthorized supplement distribution of the Village Voice. And what we have here is a situation where a non-board member decided to use the Village Voice to supplement her information and distribute to the community without the board's consent. And that is unacceptable and a violation of our governing document. So I wanted to have on record this formal objection.
Okay.
Okay. They didn't. It's really interesting also that in any of the emails that I received, there was absolutely no conversation whatsoever about the unauthorized distribution of that supplemental newsletter. But
Right.
they want to have a conversation about the president's authority to
Right.
be the editor of the newsletter.
That's
Another contradiction.
Yes, it is. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so I'm out some money in terms of invoices, and I don't know if you received, actually, I don't think you did receive it. So there's 3 invoices that I gave board members regarding money that I have paid that I have not been reimbursed on. So there's 2 outstanding invoices, one in the amount of $126 and another one for $200. That's for the copies of the June Village Voice newsletter, which I paid out of pocket for, and then the distribution of that newsletter was paid $200, and I have yet to be compensated for that. And so I was requesting reimbursement based on Richard Cruz not responding to my request for payment. The to be paid invoice was when Richard Cruz stopped a juvenile, a 16-year-old, from distributing the newsletters, which the 16-year-old had the authority to do so. So I'm not going to mention the juvenile's name in this meeting, but he was hired by me, the board president, Samuel Kateka, to distribute the June edition of the Village Voice to homeowners. The young man was stopped while engaged in the delivery of the newsletters by Mr. Richard Cruz, with all remaining copies surrendered to him. So Mr. Cruz essentially abused this boy, harassed him to give up the newsletters when this child was doing what he was authorized to do. And Mr. Cruz was totally out of line for doing so, and a police report was filed, and a statement was given by the juvenile to the police department, and the juvenile's mother also submitted her statement in outrage regarding the incident with her son. And so that's the to be paid invoice. Okay. Treasurer's report. This is another interesting topic. A lot of lip service was given about how the former board wasn't communicating how much money is in the bank. And I find it interesting that we're not getting these dollar amounts. I'm having to raise these questions in board meetings. We should be having a report. This is how much money is in the bank. These are how many people that have paid. These are the amount of unpaid. None of that conversation is happening. And so this is why in point 5, Treasury Report, I wanted to know the total number of paid membership and the current bank balance, which is unknown to me on this second day of July 2019. Are you aware of how much money is in the bank?
No, I'm not.
Have you received any communication regarding finances from the treasurer?
No, nothing in email either.
Okay. Okay, and then the last was this open discussion, the bylaw subordination and clarification. The president is the editor of the Village Voice. They didn't want to have a conversation. They wanted to immediately usurp the president's position and power and to fit their agenda. So that's it. Is there any commentary, anything that you wanted to add?
Nothing at this time that I can
Okay.
think of.
All right. Again, I'm happy that this incident was recorded. Let me get a digital time check. It is 6:37 p.m. Central Standard Time, and with this information, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion approved.
All right. Thank you. All right.